would like to thank our friends and welcome everybody to this really, if you want, topical and timely talk as part of the art program series of talks with artists and curators from around the world. I'm Marina Galvani. I'm the art curator and a senior program manager of the art program of the World Bank. So essentially, I would like just to say thank you. Not only thank you for being here in this talk, but to Yuliia and Olga, really thank you for the incredible work you're doing in your country. The function, or if you wanted, the dream, to talk in World Bank terms, the dream of the World Bank Art Program is to create a platform for artists to explain their society to the rest of the world, to affect change in the rest of the world, to influence in a better way the future of their communities. And in many cases, we are acting alone. So there are individual artists doing something here and there, and they deserve all our applause and admiration because they're doing it often in difficult conditions. But what MOCA is doing now is extraordinary. And I can tell you from my experience working around the world that it's really extraordinary. So I would like for this stop my talk and pass the microphone to Evgenia Savchenko, who is not only a great friend of our program and a wonderful colleague, but is the person who made possible this entire project. So Evgenia, you have the lead now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marina, for this introduction. And I really would like welcome the audience who's connecting here. We really appreciate you taking your time during these busy times, and some people are even coming from vacation. So we are very grateful for you to be here. I would also really like to thank Marina to listen to this idea and organize this exhibition and the webinar jointly with the ECA Vice Presidency and the Executive Office. Before I introduce the speakers, I would like to give you a few words about the importance of MOCA initiative, Museum of Contemporary Art of Ukraine initiative, and their work, and also how it relates, actually, how I see it relates to our work at the World Bank. I know Yuliia, one of the co-founders, for more than 25 years. We went to college together, and actually she was studying finance and banking in college. Last summer, when I was visiting Ukraine on vacation, we started kind of catching up and discussing who's doing what, and I was really fascinated by the work that Museum of Contemporary Art of Ukraine is doing. For me, in normal life, a person who is the consumer of art and watches the art, and basically I'm an economist working for the World Bank, this conversation was opening the door to a new world. And what I was striking the most about is that the work that MOCA initiative is doing is actually very similar to what we are doing at the World Bank with development. Not only MOCA is focusing on the traditional museum work by curating, preserving contemporary art, but most importantly, also for me, what I learned was that they're doing quite a lot of work on the institutional side. And Yuliia and Olga will talk more about it. For example, they are working on developing a fair level field in intellectual property rights. They're creating an enabling environment for artists to strive and create together. They're also carrying out education programs, both trying to introduce them in basic education, but also teaching courses in the business school. What I thought last summer that MOCA's work is really similar to what we do at the World Bank on improving the well-being of the society of Ukrainian citizens, in this case, advancing human capital and really moving forward the economic growth and development of the country. However, everything has changed since February 24th, when Russia started a full-scale war on Ukraine. And priorities of MOCA work have also shifted, and we will hear more from the co-founders today. As we were preparing for that, I was, for this event and for the exhibition, I was really admiring the professionalism and work that MOCA co-founders and the whole organization is doing. They started documenting the art during the war, creating war archive, but also continuing working in these crazy circumstances. Literally during one of our, a few minutes before one of our preparation events that we had conversation with Marina, Yuliia and Olga, a missile struck apartment building next to where Yuliia lives. And also, I wanted to say that during these difficult times, we at the World Bank actually have quite a to learn from MOCA initiatives, especially for some of us. For example, I'm working in countries with a fragility, conflict, and violence. We can learn quite a lot from MOCA how to cope with the FCV context, but also how to use art to document, provide evidence, and educate about the conflict. And most importantly, in the future, how art can prevent conflicts and tell the story about what happened. Let me now introduce the speakers. Let me pull out the presentation, just a second. Can you see it full screen? Can someone confirm, please?
Yes,
we can.
Okay, excellent. So today's presentation is about art strategy and emergency in Ukraine. We are fortunate to have two co-founders here of MOCA initiatives, Olga Balashova and Yuliia Hnat. Olga is an art historian, art critic, and she has also a PhD in philosophy. She's heading the MOCA NGO and oversees a number of educational art projects. She worked in the National Museum of Art in Ukraine as a deputy director for development, and her field of research in the art of is focused on the art of new media, the Western European art culture of 20th, 21st century, as well as the informal Soviet art. She published a number of books, and you can further follow the links later to the presentation to if you are interested to see her works. Yuliia Hnat, who is a co-founder of the MOCA initiative, specializes in strategies and project management approaches, focusing on mediation of productive interactions and networking. She does research projects and analytics at three levels: abstract, conceptual, and objective. She also lectures at Kyiv Academy of Media Arts and has experience in cultural institutions and banking. She used to work as a head of information and analytical department at the State's Ukrainian Institute of Art, and she was also deputy general director of international cooperation and projects at the Art Museum of Ukraine. She's in art management service since 2015, and before, as I mentioned, she has 15-year career at the banking and finance. In terms of the flow of the presentation, we will hear the presentation for the next 35 minutes, and then we'll have 10-15 minutes for questions and answers. Please post your questions in the chat box if you have some. And we really hope for a fantastic discussion on this topic and learning more about MOCA initiative and specifically the war time archive. Over to you, Yuliia and Olga.
thank you. Thank you, Kenya. Thank you, Marina, and all for your attention, for your participation in this webinar. So the main question for us today, does Maslow's hierarchy of needs work when we talk about art and culture? Art and culture are said to be goods or benefits of prosperous communities and developed countries. Let's think about it today. Some people place art in first level in the self-actualization, but it's not the case actually. So let's think about it today. So Zhenya, please, next slide. Thank you. And at the start, I should say a few words about us to add some details to Zhenya's introduction. MOCA NGO unites, it involves artists and experts working with contemporary art in Ukraine. We develop the sphere and we advocate the necessity to create a new type of professional museum institution in our country. Since 2020, we put our minds and efforts into the art system developing projects. Zhenya, thank you. What does it mean? When we talked about advanced system of contemporary art, we believe that this system deliver some results in such areas as contact with the contemporary. It means that this kind of art works with different contexts. It connects us with reality. And we believe that this is the most effective tool of connection. Also, that it helps us to develop our thinking, and of course, it helps us to understand ourselves. And as a result, it shapes our identity. And the most relevant thing for the audience of our webinar today, it accumulates values. What does it mean? Primarily, it's about symbolic values of artworks. It means that different ways to develop discourse. It means scientific work, publications, articles, art critics text, journalist text, and educational courses, and all of kinds of publications. And it affects reputational, social, and economic value projections at the both levels of individuals and society as a whole. Economic value, it's about market. And Zhenya, that is why when we talked about advanced art ecosystem, we focus on granting more access to Ukrainian contemporary art, both for professionals and wider audiences, in particular through advanced museum activities, and on conditions for productive work in the field of contemporary art. We're trying to use comprehensive holistic approaches. For example, we established last year, we established 3 expert groups to work on Museum of Contemporary Art issues, on researches, on museum practices, on organizational frameworks. And Zhenya. And that is why before February, our strategic initiatives were in institutional field, in science and education, and in interaction with the authorities. These directions are caused by our issues landscape in Ukraine. It means that we should develop structurally our field. We should develop our science and education in contemporary art, and we should help our authorities to develop rules of the game. Zhenya? Thank you. And After 24th of February, we felt that the importance of our mission have only raised as cultural front. Vibrant and alive voices of Ukrainian cultural professionals and artists are crucial element of sharing our values, vision for future, and understanding of what we are fighting for. And the full-scale Russian war against Ukraine is the war against certain mindset. That is why MOCA and your actual priorities are community and art practices. And we established Ukrainian Emergency Art Fund to support community and to help artists and art professionals, cultural workers to work further. And in the same time, we still have long-term priority country transformations caused by the development of advanced art system and the new type of professional museum as its core element. And now I invite Ola to start talk about art actually.
Yuliia, thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us in this time to talk about art. We believe in MOCA, we believe that art is so important and very important thing for our existence, for existence of humanity. So when the full-scale invasion started, we launched several initiatives, and two of it's quite big. Yeah, first it was a emergency and art fund for support artists. We fundraised money for artists and give like support to artists. And the second project is a wartime art archive, because from the very first dates of March, we understand that it would be a huge amount of artworks created by Ukrainian artists and dedicated to this war. It was, we understand it was kind of unbelievable, yeah, because in Ukraine we don't have so many public spaces and public institutions, and like substitute for this institution for us is social media. Like in I think it's kind of commonplace, but social media for our society is a space when we discuss all the topics which is important for our society, for our small groups, for our professional communities. And suddenly we understood that since 24th February and in March and April was fulfilled by the art which was created like reaction to the war. And we decided to gather it somehow, to make a difference, to make this art in to put it in one place, to have opportunity to discover it later, or make some publication, or make some research about this kind of art. Zhenya, please take us. So we work on it with three curators. It's me, Tanya Lisun and Galia Gleba. We all art historians, and because one of the most important thing for us, it's like make a difference between art and visual content, which also producing like very on a very large scale. Now we have in our archive more than 150 artists and more than 1,000 artworks and images. And I should say that most of these artworks, it's very fast media. It's a sketch, it's a drawing, it's sometimes it's usual oil painting, but not very big size, and much less it's ceramics or some kind of objects or sculpture. And we gather it, now our archive look like this. It's just like folders on the Google disk, because we gather it from the social media, Facebook and Instagram, where artists posted their artworks, and we don't have a permission to publish it. Yeah, when we make some exhibitions, because we already made several exhibitions based on this archive. One of it on Venice Biennial this year. It's called Piazza Ukraina, and it's poster exhibition. We make it with curators of our Ukrainian pavilion of this year, team of curators, Liza German, Masha Lenko, and Boris Filonenko, and they were first curator who worked with our archive, like to make an exhibition. And the second one, it's this our project we will discuss today, project in World Bank, which also based on our archive. Zhenya, next one, please. Yeah, and what kind of art we have in it? As I said, this is a very fast medium, like something artists could make with lack of tools, with lack of instruments, because from the February until the April week, they couldn't even buy something to make art. So they use the materials which were near. And what topics they talk about? It's they usually make images to express what they feel, and feelings. It's very important part of this. It's huge part of this archive, because it's unpredictable, and you can feel it only inside the work. And all the people, when it's very important that artists publish this art themselves, and they immediately receive a feedback from auditory, from their audience. And usually it's this feedback like, thank you very much, because you help us to understand what we are feeling now. And they immediately receive some comments and people trying to discuss what they feel. And this, for example, a piece about phrase which was, and maybe still, the most popular greeting when we text somebody or when we call somebody. We always started from, how are you? Are you safe? Are your relatives in safe? This expression very inner, very deep emotion and scary that somebody could be not not in a safe place. The second one, the next one, Zhenya. Or, for example, this feeling of Vladyslav, she expressed maybe the most direct and very this war, as you know, this war is imperialistic war. This war is against our culture, against Ukrainian as it is. So Vladyslav, when she, one of the main character of her painting is this double-headed eagle, which is symbol of Russian Empire, who trying to kill us and bring death. It's very precise, you know. It's she found this particular image to express what most of Ukrainians feel about this war. Next, please, Zhenya. Artists also found some new landscapes and some new details in landscapes, and what is seen what different from usual outfit, from usual landscape they seen every day in our cities, and very some of them actually, I think it was maybe 10 or maybe 15 artists, they trying to depict these monuments, covering monuments, which is like on our streets in every town and every city look like this. Next, please. Zhenya. Also, artists trying to tell stories, which is they immediately reflect some crucial moments of this story, because we live every day, like our horizon of planning is very, very narrow, and we plan, especially it was on the first stage of this full-scale invasion, when we could plan only till the end of the day. And artists usually like sometimes some very small story, they growing up in some other scale, to the story on the other scale, like stories for history. And when I come back making this presentation to all these images, I already, part of them I already even not remember, but that time was so important to it was like everybody talk about him, about these images and these topics. And for example, is this story about our relationship with Belarus, our neighbor country, which is partly on the Russian side and part of it on Ukrainian side. And it's kind of, we have two countries inside one, like Belarus and Belarusia. And Belarus is very supportive to Ukrainian people, and Belarusia, it's like they on the Russian side with Lukashenko as their leader, their president, who actually are not allowed to be a leader and president, but this kind of topics really about it. Alevtina Kahidze she depict a very important symbol of our war. It's a cockerel, like ceramic cockerel from Vasilkiv pottery, which survived during the huge explosion, which was in Borodyanka, and whole house was destroyed, except maybe 1 or 2 walls. And as you can see, this kitchen cabinet survived, and it remained handled when whole house was destroyed. And on the top of this kitchen cabinet was this cockerel, and it even and it was kind of meme which was on everybody talk about it. Even news channels make stories about this case, and we talk about it, and we greeting about it, how we greeting each other, like please be strong like a kitchen cabinet, and hold on like a kitchen cabinet. And this after several days, I think our friend and artist Lera Polenskova, she one day buy these cockerels, and she was on her way home, but she lived near our president environment, our president residency, near the office of president. And suddenly she see as Zelensky and Boris Johnson walk around, and she come to them because they walk down the street, and she asked permission to the safeguard to make them a present, and this also was like number 1 topic in news when she present this symbol of Ukrainian resistance. And now it's in museum, this kitchen cabinet, and this symbol already in our not our museum, but in the Museum of Ukrainian Resistance of Revolution of Dignity. Next, please. Here is also some kind of story, which was true story, and Marcel Leniskaya Kinder album, and it's about difference between Russians and Ukrainian people. Russian people who came to rape, stole, and make all horrible things they make in our cities. They also stole washing machine and carpets. They stole jewelry and take it to the Russia with them like a present, I don't know, for their families. And Ukrainian people like barehanded trying to stop Russian troops and tanks, and they just to prevent, just to save our space. Next one. Or this story about parents who, when they trying to evacuate from the Mariupol or from city which was under heavy attack, they sign like some details, some telephone numbers of relatives on their children, because they was afraid that they could be killed. And we know many these cases when children found themselves just sitting near their murdered parents alone and can't say any word. Next.
Our moderator asks us to be fast, to go.
Yeah, also it's a crime of Russian troops, and for example, this missing of Mariupol theater, and next one, or raping women. About this mass graves on a playground in Mariupol. There were a huge amount of this kind of mass graves. Next one. Next.
Olga, we have still 5 minutes, so you can take your 5 minutes and take your time for 5 minutes to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, but please, you can switch it faster, and I will explain it faster. Not so fast, please. Okay, we can still stand here, and. Yes, this is about Ukrainian people who trying to save all the animals, and because animals, one of the very heartbreaking part of the most one of the most heartbreaking part of this war, and animals from the zoo, home animals, and so on. And please, next. No, okay, these two slides. I would like to say that the most important and maybe the most interesting part of the archive was created by artists who not actually involved in some social topics, who are not political artists, who are not like contemporary artists in this kind of thinking. They're just regular painters and very lyric artists, like, for example, Ilona Kuznetsova. And this is two like pair, yeah, of works, and one of it is about is made before the Russian invasion, and second one was like post-produced with digital tool after Russian invasion, and it's make us think about how artists can cope with war. How can they make this very hard and provoking things to survive, to go through it. As you know, our brain is always think through the images. We think through the images. And when, for example, post-traumatic disorder, when we have this post-traumatic disorder, it makes all the images, all the holistic image in our head, they suddenly like interrupted and crushed and destroyed all the links on all the things between it. And this make this artist, they could cope with war, just return to the image. Even the the harder things, they can return to the image and make it clear. Our exhibition was dedicated to in World Bank, dedicated to artists who work with photo medium. Photo medium is all this photo also was shooted from the 21st February, and this is Vladyslava Solovyova, and her project is very similar to Jacob Lawrence project, which was this migration series, which we saw in Philip's Collection Museum. And as you can see, it's very similar situation. Please make it next one. You can see this similarity, and Vladyslava Solovyova, Oleksander Glyadyelov, Vladyslav Krasnoshchok. We picture these photos you can see in World Bank in Preston Lounge now is all about this reconstructing reality which trying to make be holistic again, be again making image from these destroyed parts, because beyond all the things, all the destructions, all these artists trying to make a beautiful image. Somehow they said that they would like to make very beautiful image to and make and protect this protect from reality, like make it on a different level. We choose 5 very different artists. They have a very different experience in their practice, and in war also they have different experience, but all of them trying to resist on their own level. Making photos and making art is kind of resistance for all of these artists. And all of these artists from our archive, it's a kind of resistance. And I can't remember any other war, which was reflected in art on such scale, because in Ukraine we have very interesting and very developed art scene, developed with artists themselves. Yeah, we have many different artist-run spaces, artist-run practices. For example, this is artists work with children, and it's very important and famous children's studio in Kharkiv who work with children and treat them like artists, not like children, children's art. And they go on the ground where people live and try to work with them because they know that art could heal. Art could be a social healing because they combine combine the image again. This fractured world getting again in this image.
Olya, we have a couple of minutes, so if you can quickly go through the slides and the colleagues can go and look at the exhibition in the World Bank over the summer, and then we'll have 5 minutes for Q&A, maybe 1 or 2 questions.
And maybe the next slide, and I would like to go back to the next, to the question Yuliia asked. Yuliia said previously, and this question is about why art is. Could art be important for our survival skills and be part of our survival skills? Because when I studied art history, I always think I couldn't never understand why it happens like this, that the most terrible historical circumstances provoke and give rise the most outstanding periods of art. For example, Renaissance started right after the worst plague epidemic. Baroque was blossomed during the 30 Years' War. People who made avant-garde movements, they live and survived during 3 wars and 2 revolutions. So these people use art somehow like a tool to survive, to help themselves and to make and rebuild reality on a new basement. And art helped them imagine this new reality. So our belief is that art is one of the most important things to remain a human being during the worst, the most worst circumstances, and it helps us to heal society after the war.
Thank you so much, Olga and Yuliia, for this fantastic presentation. Now we have a couple of minutes to pose the questions. If anyone has, you can pose them either in the chat or raise your hand, and we will ask our co-founders of the MOCA initiative to answer a few of them. You can always reach out to them later if you are more interested in the art or details of the artists or the wartime archives. While we are waiting for the audience to warm up and ask a few questions, let me just ask a few questions from you using my role as a moderator. It seems it is certainly the most difficult time period to live with, but as we were saying, we're thoroughly impressed by your resilience, not only yours as leaders of this initiative, but also all the artists who are working under these conditions. So maybe a question double question to you. One is, what has been most difficult in the past 4-5 months of this period for you to cope with? And the second question, what gives you energy to wake up every day and move forward and continue your very important work? Over to you, Yuliia and Olga.
Yuliia? I can answer what gives me energy. It's the belief in our victory, because Ukrainians and the Ukrainian people, they are so amazing, and they so worth to be eventually victors in this war, because this war unfold during these centuries. It's not about not about 8 years. We live in these so many centuries, and we eventually should be victors. Yuliia?
I would add, I cannot say now about difficulties in our work with arts and with our initiative, because the most difficulties were regarding our relatives and in our work. I would say that we have I had energy from my previous experience, because it was about business continuity planning and risk management, and it was some kind of tool about imagining the future when something is destroyed. And this was very helpful experience from my past. So and the connection between people, between our teammates, I would say that our initiative, our community, professional community, were some kind of prepared before this situation, because we tried to develop our strong connections between us and between our project teams, and it was based on values, on feeling, and it is very important to find energy in force majeure and in war. Yes, I think that it is about connections.
Thank you, Yuliia, for this answer as well. While we're still waiting for people maybe to ask the questions, or you can send them in the chat, maybe may I ask you another question? We understood from your presentation that really currently majority of Ukrainians, including the MOCA initiative, living day by day. But I was wondering, with your initiative, what are your plans for the future? Are you already thinking about it? What to do with the War Archive Museum? What to do with the different dynamics, with different artists moving forward? And again, it's very impressive how you are planning currently, but also hearing Yulia's answer about the future. Over.
I can say that we have a plan to this wartime archive, because it started from the 24th February, and all the work is made since this date, and we know the date when it will end it, and it would be last day of martial law when we win. I hope. And this between these two dates, all the art which was created by Ukrainian artists and published in social media, we will have this reaction, yeah, like emotional framework and to this war and to live inside this period. And I think we will make, definitely will make some publication or maybe site, and I didn't say it, but each piece of art each work have a date when it was published in social media. So we literally have all dates, all images from every day of this war. And we will have this kind of timeline, emotional timeline of this war, which is created by art and by emotions people can feel and express during this war. And that's why it's pretty unique, I think, in this in artistic practice, in history of art, because usually artists make sketches during the war, and then they come back to make like real thing after the war, after everything is already ended. But here we see how it launched day by day, and it's very interesting to see it, how it developed.
Thank you, Olga. It was great to hear about your plans in the future, and really wishing you good luck collecting the archive now, but also working on the future projects, including this timeline. We will be looking forward to seeing it when it comes, and we hope that the victory is coming soon. Now I see there is a few actions in the chat. We're happy to take questions offline later, and maybe as we are kind of coming close to the time, we'll let Marina to close this curator's talk. Thank you, Marina. Over to you.
Thank you, Evgenia, and really thank you to Yuliia and Olga. This has been wonderful. And I have to emphasize the fact that you were using the word feelings so generously, something that in the World Bank group is considered almost a taboo word. I'm exaggerating now, but it's certainly not our normal way of communicating, and I totally agree with you. People in the World Bank are still people, and they need to talk about feelings, get in touch with feelings, and especially understand how important feelings are in our line of work, even when we are building streets and we are rebuilding houses. So there was a question, just one that I'd like to answer is if we plan to do art exhibition like this in the future. As I was mentioning to Olga and Yuliia, this exhibition is a first for us as well, in the sense the first time we can talk about war in so open terms. We had other exhibitions about conflicts in the past, so we were never allowed to be so explicit about the impact of war. It was always some aspects of art that were used for healing purposes in the country of war. So going beyond that has not been possible. This is really a groundbreaking exhibition. And I'm very grateful to all the people who made that possible, from the ECA and AD office, ECA VPU office, and all the colleagues here. So moving forward, yes, we may have art exhibition of this kind. Unfortunately, as we all know, there is no shortage of conflicts worldwide. And hopefully there will be more cases like the MOCA case of artists acting together to really make a huge contribution to the war efforts, if you want, and to the long-term well-being of their people. So thank you all for this wonderful talk. Thank you very, very much for everybody who participated, and mostly for your hard work. Thank you, Evgenia. You have been the best Master of Seminary ceremony that one could wish for. And the talk will be posted on the art program YouTube channel, so we will share with you the link, Olga and Yuliia, and you can post it on your external social media as well. Thank you all, and it's been really a pleasure. We will be in touch.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
It's hard to press